Hey guys, I'm Ned. I am 19 years old. I'm from California. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Paxil and social anxiety disorder. So I was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder and generalized anxiety disorder about a month ago. It's been 4 weeks now. But it's been something I've been dealing with for, I guess, since the end of middle school probably. In high school, it sort of started becoming the focus of my life. It stopped me from doing things that, in retrospect, I would have done. Throughout high school, I had a close group of friends, and I sort of stuck by them the entire 4 years. And that was fine, but I was very reluctant to make new friends. You know, when you're in high school, one way to make new friends is, you know, to go to parties and be very social in sort of larger groups. So, you know, for those of you who know about social anxiety disorder, people who have it have a difficult time in larger groups. And that was the case for me. I would just get very paranoid. I would, you know, try to avoid it as much as possible, and if I forced myself to go, it was sort of like enduring it. Even to this day, I feel very anxious and just kind of scared. For a long time, it sort of dictated the way I lived my life, and I didn't think it was a disorder at the time. I thought that, you know, I was just introverted and that this is the way I interacted with the world. But what puzzled me was that I enjoyed talking to people and I enjoyed being around people, in theory, right? Like in my mind, I wanted to be part of the group that, you know, went out at night and partied and, you know, hung out with friends. But when it came to the situation where I would put with other people, it would be like this anxiety would just overwhelm me. So it was very confusing for me at first. I didn't understand why I was reacting this way, even though I wanted to be part of this group and I liked being sort of a part of a bigger sort of social scene. So some of the symptoms that I faced even now is when I'm in larger groups, I turn very red. My face gets very red. I start sort of sweating, a bit shaky, nothing too major, and heart palpitations. In terms of mental, I would say that I get very obviously anxious. I tend to think that people in the room are talking about me or, you know, thinking negatively about me, and that I don't belong and that I would be better off not be there.
Sorry for the transition, I know. My bad, so,
Okay, we're in business. So the moment that made me decide to go see a psychiatrist and to really deal with my social anxiety happened in college, at the beginning of this year actually. I became sort of very withdrawn from everybody, and I kind of just isolated myself. I was living alone in a single room, and I found it difficult to keep up friendships because I was so paranoid that you know, the person that I was friends with was going to judge me or like leave me, stuff like that. And though I understood that what I was thinking was irrational, it's very difficult to control. And so when I tried to explain this to people, you know, they said, well, you know, can't you just adjust your thinking? That is one way to go about treating social anxiety disorder, through therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy, where you try to change your thought patterns and things like that. But as people who have gone through that, it's not easy and it takes time, and without proper guidance from a professional, it can be very difficult. So I don't suffer from depression. I don't get depressed very often, but because you know, I had no friends essentially, I became sort of a loner, and that led to depression. I decided that I would see someone over the summer, which is now, and try to get this sorted out in a sort of restful setting while I'm at home. Yeah, so I started seeing a psychiatrist last week, or excuse me, a month ago. And I also started seeing my psychologist a month ago. And at first she prescribed, I explained my symptoms to her and she said, I really think you would benefit from psychological sessions with a therapist, and I'm going to start you off on a medication called Buspirone. So she started me on 10 milligrams of Buspirone 3 times a day, and then upped it to 15 milligrams 3 times a day a week or 2 later. And with the Buspirone, I did feel some sort of mood elevation. It took away some of the emotional instability I was having because I didn't have any friends. I don't know if I was placeboing myself into thinking that this medication would work, but it did not help my anxiety or my it did not help my social anxiety at all. I hear it's very effective for people who have generalized anxiety disorder, but for me it's more social anxiety disorder. So after about 3 weeks of being on it, I talked to my psychiatrist, and I've been to my psychologist about 4 times at that point, and I think we all came to the understanding that I needed something stronger. And so the next day I talked with my psychiatrist, and she said that Paxil would be a good option, and that I could start on a low dose. So that was about 4 days ago, and I'm currently on 15 milligrams of Paxil once a day. And so far, I don't really notice any changes. I am definitely feeling the side effects. It's only been 4 days, so I can't be too critical. But so far, as far as the side effects go, I'm feeling sort of irritable. I get lightheaded every now and then. I had one panic attack yesterday, but it wasn't anything too serious. I was able to calm myself down, and it makes me very sleepy. So after I take it, I sort of just